Hey y'all, this is Coach Alethea, and welcome to the Power Transformation Podcast. Now, for those of you who are my regular listeners, you're like, what? It's her voice already and not the introduction? Well, that's because I am doing something different today. This is a best of episode. Again, this is a best of episode. I am going to sporadically do best of episodes to highlight certain past episodes on the Power Transformation Podcast. The reason why I'm doing this is because some of you may be newer to our podcast, and then some of you may have joined different times and may not have heard some earlier episodes. And it's a way to highlight certain topics that are still relevant and needed. This best of episode features Dina Felton, or my sister, and she talks about how to manage your anger. Y'all, I'll give you a plain example. I was in my car somewhere earlier and I had to pay the parking attendant in a parking garage. He went to try to get change. And then all of a sudden, a car behind me honks out of impatience, not seeing that the parking attendant went to a kiosk to get me change. I took my hand and I stuck it out of the window, and I was tempted to flip him the bird. I will be honest, but I didn't. Instead, I simply waved my hand and I pointed towards where the parking attendant kiosk was. Sure enough, the parking attendant came my way, gave me my change, and I looked at him and I said, "People are so impatient." And the parking attendant said, "Yes, they are." So, y'all, I controlled my anger in that situation. And I've seen other situations where people are just getting angry for no reason or allowing people to trigger them. In this best of episode, Dina gives you some pointers of things that she had to learn to overcome her anger as well. And I hope that you can have some key takeaways from it as well. So, welcome to the Power Transformation Podcast, best of episode. Popping off, y'all. Popping off. Let's learn how to deal with and manage your anger. Love y'all. Hey, y'all. I'm Dina Felton, and welcome to the Power Transformation Podcast. If you're struggling in your life with self-sabotaging and negative thoughts that leave you feeling stuck and limit you from moving forward, I can help you. As a holistic health and empowerment coach, I help people identify, challenge, and conquer those thoughts in order to make simple and practical changes to improve overall wellness. Let's remove those limitations, for the time is now to create your power transformation. You're listening to the Power Transformation Podcast, episode number 3, and I am Dina Felton, better known as Coach Alethea, and thank you once again for joining me. I am so excited to have you here. If you are new to our podcast, thank you so much for joining this episode. And we always begin with an affirmation. Today's affirmation, I will say it once, then I will say it again. After that second time, you repeat it. I remain calm in the most challenging situations. I remain calm in the most challenging situations. So you may be wondering, remaining calm in the most challenging situations, why is that? Because, y'all, today's episode is entitled Popping Off 3 Tips to Deal with Your Anger. And at first, I was going to do this episode solo, but I said I'd have a guest today. And that guest is my sister, Dina. She is my big sister, 3 years my senior. And I have Dina here with us today. Say hey, Dina.
Hey, y'all.
So that is my sister, Dina. Yes, it is a different person. People often say that we sound alike, but that is my sister. So, Dina, before we jump into this episode about popping off 3 tips to deal with your anger, tell our audience or just listeners in general, just a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, something about me. I love to garden, whether it's house plants or growing my own vegetables. And I have grown my own vegetables to the point where I think I'm a pro at it. In addition, I am someone, I would call myself a Jill of all trades and a master of none.
Why is that?
Why? I guess because I float between doing a million different things. I am a knitter, but only during the winter time, not all year round. And then I used to do scrapbooking, which I actually still enjoy. I just don't have the energy to do it right now. But then I like to just have different hobbies. In addition, you will always catch me with a book, whether it's a book in my hand or a book on my phone, or I'm listening to one, because I'm a bookworm.
So tell them what mommy and daddy used to do to you to punish you when you were a child. What was the only effective punishment for you?
Wow. The only effective punishment for me was to take away my books.
Book punishment, y'all.
And
do you hear this?
In
Book
addition
punishment.
to that, though, I would watch on PBS. At the time, it was the McNeil Learner Report. And a lot of people would think that that would be boring to me, but because I'm a bookworm and I probably read something about politics, I actually fell in love with the show. So that kind of failed on my parents.
So I have no clue what show she's talking about. I will say, though, that she loved as a little kid a show called The Lawrence Welk Show.
Yes,
Google, please Google it if you don't know what that is. But anyway, the reason why I wanted to have my sister here, first of all, we are both Virgos. I am an August Virgo. She is a September Virgo. Dina and I are very close. We are very, very close. However, we are opposites in so many ways, polar opposites. We have similar thoughts and ways of thinking, and we know each other better than I think anybody else knows us. And a lot of people know how close we are, but we know the ins and outs of each other. We are like oil and water sometimes, but yet we are very, very close. The reason why I wanted to have her up here is Dina and I handle anger in various different ways. I sit a lot with mine and I reflect more. But when I think about popping off, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I thought about my sister because Dina will pop off, not all of the time. And I want to make that clear. Now, some of you may say pop off. Why does she keep saying this? Pop, P-O-P, off, O-F-F. Dina, what is your definition of popping off? What does that mean when I use that term?
So to me, when you say popping off, that clearly states that my anger level is beyond 100. And so I'm going to get very upset and I'm probably going to curse you out.
Okay. So that's what popping off means to her. And yeah, popping off means when you just go ham, when you just go totally upset, you are angry beyond what you can control. So to start this off, since this episode is about 3 tips to deal with your anger, and I will bring that to you from a holistic health aspect so that you can have that power from within to transform this aspect of your life. But Dina, will you share with us a time? Think about a time when you just straight up popped off. Tell us about that circumstance, if you please.
Eesh. Well, I have popped off quite a few times in my life, whether it was over a sports game, because I'm a huge sports fan, or whether it was at even my sister or
Oh yeah.
work.
And I pop back with her.
Oh yeah.
So
However, one instance that comes to mind right away is when I popped off one time at work. I was new to the office. I had just gotten there from working somewhere else. And I was assigned an assignment that I had no clue on how to do. And I kept telling the supervisor, hey, I need your help. I need your help. He didn't give his help. And so when he asked
he
me,
or she didn't give
oh, I'm
help.
sorry.
Maybe.
Oops, maybe. But
they
when it was time for me to turn in the assignment, I clearly stated, I'm not done. And the person kept hounding me and hounding me and hounding me. And finally I said, I don't have it fucking done yet. I don't know what I'm doing. And when I popped off, I said, you know what? Y'all can take this job. I quit. And I literally grabbed my purse, grabbed my car keys, and went outside to my car and sat in my car until another coworker tapped on my window and said, you know you can't quit this job. Come on back upstairs. I'll show you what needs to be done.
Ooh, she dropped the F-bomb because she popped off. Okay. So let's talk about this, y'all. Okay, Dina, let's think about this trigger here. What was it that triggered you to tell that person that in those terms?
Well, what triggered me was I had clearly stated I didn't know what I was doing. And the person constantly kept hounding me about it instead of helping me. So I got triggered because you're not helping me, but you're hounding me to give you something. And I don't have a clue what I'm doing.
So what was the resolution of that? What happened after? Because obviously you went back into the building.
Obviously I went back. Yes, I needed that paycheck. What helped?
And you didn't need to get fired.
Right. So. I didn't need to get fired either. Good job. What helped, I think, was the coworker that came knocking on my window and said, come on, because you know you need this job, which was very true. And then also that coworker actually helped me do the assignment. And once that person helped me, I was able to clearly understand what was needed of me going forward.
Okay. Now, did this incident happen when you were younger than you are now?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Okay.
I think I was still in my 30s, maybe.
Okay. So
early.
So you were younger, and hindsight is...
They always say hindsight is 20/20.
Okay, so looking back at that situation now, how would you have handled it differently?
Oh gosh. Definitely wouldn't have cussed. Definitely wouldn't have ran out to my car and said I quit. I think in that situation, I would have pulled the person aside and said, hey, I really don't know what I'm doing here. I need some guidance, whether that is from you or from someone else. And once I received guidance, probably it would have been given from someone else, but I would have been able to better understand the assignment and task at hand.
Okay. And so what encouragement or words of wisdom would you give to somebody dealing with their anger, especially if they pop off?
Definitely don't do what I did and cuss and then run to your car and say you quit. But seriously, I think in that situation, you need to really just take some time and assess what's going on. At least take time to breathe. One thing about me, I do meditation every single day to the point that I'm trying to get up to about 20 minutes a day in one sitting. And so for me, meditation helps. It helps me to be more in tune and more aware so that I'm not fussing at people or cursing at people left and right. So that definitely is key. Like take a minute to just pause, breathe, and reassess the situation.
So that is so interesting that she would actually say that as a tip, because this is 3 tips to deal with your anger. And the first tip that I have is, number 1, before you get to that point of popping off, tip number one, breathe. Take time to pause and breathe. That's what is very advisable to do. Now, look, okay, I just have to have a little segue here because these are unscripted and unedited. I have all of these sound barriers. So I just have to say, I'm trying to stay focused right now because my cat, Buddy, is outside of the door where I am recording, and he is scratching on the door because it's time for him to eat. I don't get angry with Buddy, but it is a little irritating right now. But he is my sweetheart. So I am remaining calm in the most challenging situations.
If anything, it seems like Buddy is popping off at us.
Yes, Buddy is popping off right now. So this is ironic. Yes, that's a great way to put it. Buddy is popping off.
I think
because
we need to give him
he is hungry. So number one, Buddy and everybody else out there, y'all need to breathe. Just calm down. That is tip number one. Dina, what else would you give somebody? Oh, and please write that down. Tip one, breathe. What else would you recommend for someone?
Sure. I think another thing that I would recommend is if you're in a situation where you're angry with someone, I know I don't like confrontation. However, it is best that you do use confrontation and actually confront someone.
Healthy confrontation.
Healthy, yes. Don't do the confrontation and then you do a beat down, but do healthy confrontation where you actually address the person to say, hey, I'm either unaware of how to do something, or, can we talk this out, just to make it a little level and even keel.
And so tip two, in dealing with your anger, what I have here written down, if you find yourself in a pattern of always popping off, talk to someone. That can be a friend, a counselor, your significant other, a pastor or spiritual leader, your mom. You could even do positive self-talk, even with yourself, but talk to someone who can help you understand why your anger is getting to that point of being uncontrollable, and how you can talk to someone else about how they manage their anger. Because in a case like that, if you start to see a pattern, though, I do recommend strongly that you see a mental health professional. But tip one, breathe. Tip two, talk to someone. Tip three, prior to me asking Dina what else she would have you to do, is that tip three, I am all about physical movement. Move your body. If that means walking away and going for a walk, if that means taking a jog, that could even mean leaving the location where you are to get some fresh air or doing some stretches. I wouldn't immediately get behind the wheel of a car when you're angry, because that could trigger road rage. And some of y'all pop off as you're driving, which triggers road rage. If that's you, you may need to take the closest exit, park somewhere, get out of your car and walk around. Do something to move your body. It could mean that you do a workout later on. It could even mean that you are finding that you need to go to a spa and get some body work done in terms of a massage, but something physically needs to happen to your body. So breathe, talk to someone, and move. Those are 3 tips to deal with your anger. Also, let me backtrack a bit. As you're breathing, you need to really take deep breaths in and out, but also start to channel into, okay, what caused me to get triggered by this? Because that can also lead into that step 2 of talking with someone. You can at least have some type of a path or a guide to get the conversation going. Because when we pop off, that in essence is saying that we have allowed someone else to have power over us. Their actions affected us to a point where we could not control ourselves. And so that's why it is so important that you implement strategies. Dina, do you have one more tip for people outside of what I've shared in terms of these 3 tips?
No, actually, I think those are great. But I actually do have one now that I think about it. Write down your thoughts. Sometimes we are in situations where, especially at work, where someone may give us a nasty gram email and we're ready to just cuss them out in that email. And what I have learned is that you can write the nasty gram email, just don't send it. So draft the email, remove all people from your to line, and then just write it out. Write your feelings out. Once you've done that, read it and delete it. That's something I have done several times now, and it really works. And then the other thing is with the get up and move. Sometimes we are in situations, especially at work, where you're sitting around all day long. Get up. And one thing that really helped me when I was younger in my career, I would play really fast, energetic songs and just get up and do moves and just start dancing around. And if you know me, like my sister does,
she can't dance.
But in my head, I am the best dancer in the world. So get up and dance because it's going to make you happy, giggly, excited. You're going to have a whole different feeling once you do that.
Well, there you have it. I don't think there's anything else to add. I am very grateful that my special guest, Dina, has joined us today. And I just want to remind Dina, as well as myself, that whenever we are tempted to pop off in any situation, that these tips will come to mind, and that I encourage and hope that all of you too will put these practices into play. Dina, I thank you for joining me today on the Power Transformation Podcast.
Sure. I actually enjoyed doing this. I look forward to maybe doing this with you once more.
Maybe. We'll see how that goes, depending on her schedule, my schedule, the topics, as well as you all letting me know how you like my sister up here, because I do actually have a list of special guests that are going to be making their way. And since this is a continued podcast, I would love to have my sister back up here once more. So thank you again. We are going to end with our affirmation. Again, I will say it once, and then you as the audience say it aloud after I say it for the second time. The affirmation for today: I remain calm in the most challenging situations. Again, I remain calm in the most challenging situations. There you have it. Use that affirmation whenever you need to. And thanks so much again. Again, y'all, popping off. Use those 3 tips to deal with your anger. If you enjoyed today's show, then you don't want to miss an episode. So follow the Power Transformation Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you usually listen, and remember to rate and review. Visit www.aletheafelton.com to download your free copy of 10 Steps to Getting Unstuck and Reaching Your Dreams Without Feeling Overwhelmed. And don't forget to connect with me on social media at Alethea Felton. That's at ALETHEAFELTON. Until next time, remember to be good to yourself and to others.